If you hate your job and you want to do something a lot more fun while working part-time from your laptop on the beach, then the creator economy is the best opportunity you have right now. Never before has it been possible for a 20-something-year-old kid to make millions of dollars using nothing but a laptop and a smartphone, all while doing work that's fun and creatively stimulating. Now, this opportunity is staring you in the face. I know you've seen it before. You're not stupid, but here is a harsh truth. This opportunity is passing you by. It's like an investment opportunity where you want to get in on the ground floor, and every day that you wait to get started, the amount of success you're ultimately going to see goes down. In other words, the sooner you start, the more beaches, laptops, and commas in your bank account you're going to see in your future. My name is Brian Elwood. I've been doing this for 8 years, earning multiple six figures, all while working 4 hours per day from the coffee shop. Sometimes when I'm at the coffee shop, I kind of look up from my computer for a second and I just think, how did I get so lucky to be born at a time when something like this is even possible? I mean, the work I do is fun. I get to basically learn stuff and then turn around and share it and make a living doing so, all while being creative. And I get to pop home and hang out with my wife and my daughters whenever I want to. It's really the perfect business for me. But I want to be really honest with you guys about something. I had a lot easier time getting into this space than most people. I had pivoted from a successful real estate career. I had 36 rental properties. I had a bunch of cash in the bank. And so I had time to figure this out. Most people do not have that luxury. Now, I was broke and barely scraping by during my first year in real estate, but not when I got into coaching. And I have a friend who wants to become a YouTuber and an author. He wants it bad, but he has a full-time job. He has a wife. He has kids. He never has time. He always has plans on the weekend. So what is somebody like him supposed to do in order to actually break into this creator economy and be able to quit his job and do this full time? Well, even though I didn't go through the same struggles that he's facing, I did take something from my time in real estate and carry it over with me into this coaching creator world. And I believe that has made all the difference. Now, if I was in my friend's shoes, this is the path I would take to ensure that I could eventually quit my 9-to-5 and do my creator business full time. Now, this approach will work even if you're strapped for time and you won't have to quit your 9-to-5 job and risk it all. This approach essentially guarantees that you will be successful at some point. So first, let's dive into the backstory on how I learned this. My favorite book on investing is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That book taught me how you can basically look at dollars like soldiers. And for every dollar that you invest, that's like a little soldier that is out there working for you and bringing back fruit. And once you have enough soldiers working for you and bringing back money, you no longer have to work for money yourself ever again. That is the basic definition of financial freedom. So when I had that epiphany, that's what motivated me to go out and buy a bunch of rental properties that now sit there and work for me. And when I transitioned to the creator business, I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to do work that does work. I didn't want to just work on something that kind of causes a quick flare up and then it's completely forgotten about. So I wrote a book. This is my first book, Fire Yourself. And I wrote this because I knew that books stick around forever, right? They've been around for thousands of years and they're not going anywhere, kind of like a social media post where you post it and 2 days later, nobody cares. Also, books work as like a little soldier for you out there spreading the message you have about your specific topic. This one was about real estate investing because that's what I coached on when I first got in this industry. And this little book made me $90,000 in client revenue during my first 12 months in the space. And I also started a podcast. Podcasts are different from other types of media you might create because an episode that you publish can still be getting downloads 1 or 2 years after you publish it. And growing an audience happens in a compound way. In other words, like to get your show from 0 to 10 listeners per episode is really the same amount of work as it is to get it from 10 to 100. And again, from 100 listeners to 1,000, about the same amount of work, same amount of time. And once my podcast was getting over 1,000 downloads per episode, I was having 4 people that were reaching out to me on average each month that wanted to work with me to help them buy rental properties. And that was putting my coaching business at doing around $25,000 per month. Now, it did take 2 years of consistently publishing podcast episodes to get there, but I was finally starting to see that compound growth that everyone talks about. And this is the opportunity that you have when you get into this creator economy. Yeah, it's going to start out slow, but if you can stick with it long enough and make it fun, you have the chance to see exponential growth, compound returns, and wealth like you've probably never seen before. But let's get back to a more practical action plan here, because we started talking about my friend who wants to be the author and the YouTuber, but he has no time. He can't quit his job and take the leap. He's got a family to support. What is he supposed to do? Well, Naval Ravikant is a serial entrepreneur and angel investor, and he has a thread on Twitter that's hugely popular, all about productizing yourself. And that encapsulates the advice that I would give to my friend. If you only have 20 or 30 minutes a day to work on your creator business because you have a job and a family, then you have to be doing work that sticks and that grows and that compounds upon itself over time so that you have a chance of ever replacing your income. If you do work that fizzles out, then you're kind of just throwing shit at the wall and using the shotgun method, and that's not going to work. Now, in order to productize yourself, what you want to do is take what you know and put it in the form of media. And examples of media are books, podcasts, and videos. The reason why you want to do that is because they give you teaching leverage. My friend does not have time to be on a bunch of let's get to know you Zoom calls with people, or really to even do one-on-one coaching, right? He has to do something that's leveraged. So he needs to start a YouTube channel where hundreds or thousands of people can learn from him while he's at his 9 to 5, while he's with his family. This is what productizing yourself is in essence. You're taking what you know and packaging it in such a way that there's no limit to how many people can consume that thing at one time. And the really cool thing is that the places that you publish your media, like YouTube, grow an audience for you. And the audience grows in a compound way. So the eyeballs that are on that productized version of yourself grow and compound as well. It's really the best of both worlds. So if I was my buddy and I only had 20 minutes per day, here is what I would do. Step 1 is I would write newsletters. Why newsletters? Well, newsletters are, first of all, the thing that you email to your list when you have an email list. And if you don't know much about this creator economy, most of the money is made still through email marketing. Sure, social media, YouTube, those things grow an audience, but you don't really hit people with a bunch of spammy promotion stuff on there. It's not a good look. So you push people to an email newsletter, and there you deepen the relationship, the trust, authority, and promote your stuff. So if I was my friend, I would write newsletters even before I had an email list. We're going to talk about growing that email list in a minute, but here's how I would use them initially. So step number 1 is writing newsletters for 20 to 60 minutes per day. Step number 2 is start a blog using Kajabi. There's a link in the description if you want a free trial. but Kajabi is what I use for my website, my blog, my courses, my landing pages, email. It's like one platform that has everything that a creator needs to run their business. Number 3 is I would then publish those newsletters to the blog. So they would be blog posts on my blog. Number 4 is I would go in and I would pull quotes and little bits out of the newsletter, and I would use them on short form social media, which is like Instagram, X, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Those are the scroll platforms where people are just looking for little tidbits of information. And you can take a long form newsletter, pull 10 or 20 different quotes out of that, and make a lot of short form content so that you can grow your audience on those platforms and make more people aware of your blog post. Because if it just sits on your blog, sorry, nobody's ever going to find it. Number 5 is I would just use my trusty iPhone and I would film a video version of that newsletter and put it on YouTube. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now. This video is the same as my newsletter. I have the newsletter pulled up right here on Google Docs, and I am reading it to you. I'm obviously trying to make it a little more casual. It's not word for word, but I'm using my newsletter as a loose script for this video. I'm not writing a newsletter to my list and then being like, oh yeah, I need to make a YouTube video too. That's too much work even for me, but if I had a 9-to-5, there's no way in hell I could do that. And so you have to look at the newsletter as the foundational pillar piece of content for your business. And if you can write one per week, then that can go a ton of different places. In fact, when I'm done with this video, I'm going to strip the audio out of it, and that is going to become an episode on my podcast. So once again, that one newsletter that we wrote, the return that we're getting on that is being multiplied and multiplied. Then when I'm spreading this content everywhere, so the YouTube video, the podcast, the quotes that go on short form, the blog post itself, I'm going to be asking people to opt in to my email list. I'm going to have a little opt-in field. You've seen those before. And that's how I'm going to grow an email newsletter that will be the most profitable part of my business in the long run. On the blog posts themselves, I'm going to make it clear that I do one-on-one coaching. I may promote affiliate products if I don't have a crisp offer of my own yet, but that will give me a chance to make some revenue from coaching, even while I'm still kind of new and figuring all this out. Now, I'm not just going to pull little quotes out of my newsletters and manually post them on social media. I'm going to get smart about it. There's a piece of software called Hype Fury, and I will put the link for that in the description if you want a free trial of that. And what that allows you to do is basically you can copy a couple sentences from your newsletter, paste it into Hype Fury. It will automatically publish it on X, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. It will create the little quote card looking thing. You can do carousel posts if you know what that is, like when you're swiping through 10 different pictures on Instagram. It creates those automatically in Hype Fury. And so not only is it just quick copy paste and then it will send those out on the schedule that you predetermine, but you can categorize posts on there. This is a post about personal growth. This is a post about coaching business. This is a post about health. And tell Hype Fury that 3 months later, I want you to post this post again. And so basically, if this is confusing, just imagine your library of short form posts growing and being able to be reused, because you may not know this, but a lot of the gurus actually repost the same stuff they've already posted for 30, 40 to 50% of their content. This is a thing. And yeah, they might wait 3 to 6 months to reuse it, so you're not seeing the same thing, but you have to adopt this mindset, especially if you're my friend who doesn't have a lot of time, where you're not just making endless amounts of content and just like always a hamster on a wheel, just hoping that like one sticks. Instead, you're spending a bunch of time writing one damn good newsletter. And then you're breaking that into a bunch of different ways for people to consume it. And then you keep showing it to people over and over again. That newsletter you're going to write to your list, you can email them that once every 3 months. The blog post that you spent all that time writing that promotes your coaching, you can link that in your Instagram story once a month. So once you have a bunch of blog posts built up, you have a library, and every day on some platform somewhere, you could promote one of those blog posts that then promotes your services for you. So to put a bow on all this, if you did this, then you would have a growing library of blog posts, a growing catalog of YouTube videos, a growing audience on YouTube for your videos, a growing podcast, a growing email newsletter, a growing Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn. And these platforms cross-promote each other, and the whole thing snowballs. Alex Hormozy has a quote that I always remember. He says, to work on things that compound so that if you do them long enough, it is unreasonable to think that you will be broke. And if I was my friend and I only had 20, 30 minutes a day, the only way I could ever see myself guaranteeing that I would get out of the 9 to 5 and doing the creator business is to do work that compounds. Now, a lot of creators do not have this mindset. They do work that's like throwing some kindling on a fire. There's a poof, and then it's gone. And then the work collects dust for the rest of their life, and they go, oh, I gotta create something new. That's my worst nightmare. I do not want to spend hours and hours writing something only for it to just fall flat. And this system prevents that. All right, guys, so in summary, the greatest opportunity of today is the creator economy. The fuel source for the creator economy is media. And if you approach this in a way where you productize yourself, I don't really see how you can fail if you stick with it long enough. If you want to hop on my email newsletter and get a weekly email on what I'm doing to grow my creator business, the link is in the description for that. The email newsletter is called Creators Corner. Also, you can get my book, Nail Your Niche, if you need some help determining like what product you're going to sell as a creator. This is $5 for the ebook and the audiobook and some bonus trainings at nailyourniche.net. Lastly, if you really are serious about being a creator, you need to have another mindset shift of thinking of your business as a personal brand. Check this video out to learn how to start a personal brand so that you can escape the 9 to 5. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you soon.